Let's go ahead and talk about dictionaries and how we can use them in Python. We'll start with some really basic examples, and then we'll go into some more advanced use cases, like using dictionary comprehension, merging dictionaries, and different ways to loop over the collection. So to get started, I have the code set up in this file. And so here is a simple example of what a dictionary is. We have a key and then a value. So every dictionary is just a group of key value pairs. We can use this key to then find this value. And we'll go over examples of exactly how to do that. But that's just an idea so you understand what dictionaries are. There's this grouping of key value pairs so we can use these keys to access these values. Let's go ahead and go over some examples. So let's go ahead and create a dictionary to start. And this one will be just like an employee. So we'll create employee and we'll create a dictionary here. And for every employee, we want to keep a name. So we'll keep a name. In this case, we'll name him Bob. And we'll give him a title. It's like some sort of job title. In this case, will be software developer. And that's all we need to create a dictionary. So now we can go ahead and access these values. So I'll go ahead and just print. I'll print employee. And I'll grab the employee's name. And now this, by passing a name here, should return Bob. I go to my terminal, and first I go ahead and just run my virtual environment so I can run the script here, Python 3 tutorial.py. And now we return back Bob. We can do the same for the title as well. We can change this to title, and then go ahead and run this as well. And then we get software developer. Now, what happens if we try to access one that doesn't exist? So we'll go ahead and try to access email, for example. And then we'll come back to our terminal here, run this, and now we get an error saying key error email. So if you try accessing a key doesn't exist using the square bracket notation here, it will throw an error. Now, if you want to avoid throwing an error, what we can use is a get method that's on all dictionaries. So every dictionary has access to a get method. So you take the name of the dictionary, .get, and then you can pass in a key. So we can pass in name here, and that should return Bob still, like it did before. But if we go ahead and pass one and it doesn't exist, so we'll do email again. We run this, now we just return none instead of an error. So it's kind of a nicer way to return something that doesn't exist instead of just throwing an error. Now, in all these examples here, all we did was put strings. We can go ahead and put numbers too if we wanted. We can do 1 and then do 22 or whatever. And now if we go ahead and print out employee, the entire employee, we should see this key here. It doesn't have to be a string. It will still print out just fine. See here at the end as just an integer. So that's the really basic way of how to create a dictionary. Now let's go through how to update a dictionary. So what we'll do on here, so I'm gonna go and remove this print statement so to keep our terminal a little cleaner. How we can update something is we want to add a new key. We can go ahead and just do email equals test@test.com or whatever, and that will add the email key and the value of test@test.com to our employee dictionary. And we can go ahead and print that to see that it did work. And now we have this email key and this test value at the end. We could also do that for name or title to update any existing value as well if we wanted to. If we want to update more than one at the same time, what we can do is we can do employee, and another method on dictionaries is update. And we can go ahead and pass in anything we want here to update multiple keys at once. So we pass in our curly braces again to create like another dictionary almost. But this will update the existing keys or add the new ones if they don't exist already. So we'll take name and we'll update that to, we'll say Bobby, and then we'll update its title as well. And we'll say something like, so we'll say title, we'll say software developer, or we'll say software engineer this time, just to change it up. And we can add a new key as well if we wanted phone, and we can just add 111 and save that. Now when we print out our employee, we updated our existing fields here, and we also added the new one. So that's an easy way to kind of do everything in one line if you'd like to do that as well. Now let's go through removing values. So now we have a bunch of values in here. Let's go ahead and remove some. So first what we can do is we can do a del to delete something. So we can do employee, and we could just do just employee and nothing else. And that will delete our entire employee dictionary. So if we come back and try running this to print our employee, we'll get an error saying it's not defined because we deleted it. But if we don't want to delete the whole thing and we just want to delete certain keys, we can go ahead and pass in the keys inside of square brackets again. So let's go ahead and delete our phone, and then we'll come back here, run this, and now phone is no longer showing up. If we want to remove the value but then do something with it afterwards, we can use a pop method. So what we'll do here, instead of go ahead and just deleting the phone number, let's go ahead and return it in a variable. So we'll do phone equals employee.pop, and then inside here we'll pass in one argument of phone, and that will find the phone key and return that value and save it in this phone variable here. We run that. Oh, I didn't print it. Let's go ahead and print it out here, phone, and then we'll print out that phone value. And there we go. Now we get our phone value. So if you want to go ahead and use that value for something, you can use this pop method to still get it, but also remove it at the same time. So if we went ahead and printed out employee, you'll now notice there's no phone value on here. There's no phone value inside of here because we use the pop method to remove it and return it in a new variable. Okay, so that goes over how to update, how to delete, how to add new keys, all sorts of things. That's all you really need to go ahead and create dictionaries and update them over time. But there's different ways you could iterate over these different values. Now you may try to, just like in a list, just do something like for key in employee, and this will work fine. It'll just only print out the key and nothing, and not the value. So if we go ahead and just run this, you get name, title, one, email, but there's no values. If you want to get both the keys and the values, you can do employee.items. And we can go ahead and run that. Actually, before I run that, let's go ahead and just comment out these two lines just to keep our terminal a little cleaner. But now we can go ahead and print out all of the items. And you'll get these tuples back here with name, Bobby, title, software engineer, everything else. If you want to get just the keys, we can also use this keys method as well, and that'll return just the keys, just like we did before. That returns just the keys. And we also have access to a .values method as well that will return only the values. So depending on what you want to get, you can do that to get either the keys, values, or both, depending on what you need. Now, I mentioned earlier inside of here, these tuples and everything, we can use these tuples to also build a dictionary. And we can use this by using the dict constructor. So this kind of starts the more advanced sort of stuff we're doing here. All of this stuff up here is most of what you'll need most of the time. But there's some extra things we can do that may be useful in certain situations, but it's definitely more advanced. So let's go over those things now. So the first will be creating dictionaries from tuples. So we can go ahead and create an employee tuple, and I can make another video in the future on tuples if that's something that would be useful. And I guess this is actually a tuple list. Let's go ahead and just call it that, because there's tuples inside of a list. But we can create different pairs here. So do name and Bob, and then we'll create another tuple here, and we'll do title and software engineer. Now, if we go ahead and do employee equals dict, which is a dict constructor, and pass in employee tuple, and then print out employee. Oh, I put employee tuple. It should be employee tuple list. And then we get back a dictionary here with those two keys. I'll go and just comment this out just so you can see clearly what this one line returned, which is just that dictionary. So just to go over that real quickly, what we're doing is we're creating these tuples, which are these different type of collection I can go over in the future. But in this case, we're creating pairs. So we're creating a tuple with two different items. And we're using one as the key and one as the value. So it's key and value, key and value. And then we're taking all of these pairs here and we're creating a key value data structure here using this dict constructor. and then we're printing out here at the end. So if you have some data you want to convert into a key value pair mapping, you can use this line right here to do so. The next more advanced topic we're going to cover here will be dictionary comprehensions. So you may have heard of list comprehensions and how you can create a list from an expression. Well, we can do the same thing with a dictionary as well. So I haven't made a video on that, but I'll probably make one in the future on how to do list comprehensions because it's a very useful and powerful tool available to us in Python. But for now, we'll focus just on dictionaries. So in this case, I want to go ahead and I'll create just a comment here to show what I want to make. I want to create a mapping of numbers and the square of that number. So 0 squared, 0 times 0 will be 0, 1 times 1 will be 1, 2 squared, 2 times 2 will be 4, and then 3 squared, 3 times 3 will be 9, and then we'll do 4 squared as well. 4 times 4 will be 16. So I want to create this mapping, but I don't want to do it manually. I want to do it by using a dictionary comprehension. So how can we do that? Well, we can go ahead and create a variable. We'll call it squares equals, and then we create a curly braces to create a new dictionary. And then we'll go ahead and do x colon x times x. I'll explain this here in a second. For x in range 5. And then we'll go ahead and just print squares. So what we're doing here is we're saying we want to create a key, we'll call it x, and then we want to create a value of x times x for x in range 5. So what this will do, range 5 will return a list of 0 through 4. So it's just going to return a list of just 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The reason why it doesn't include 5 is because it goes from the first number up and not including the last number. So we could do 0, 5 here, but if we don't include 0, it just starts at 0. And it goes up to, but not including the final number. So it's up to, but not including 5 in this case. So we'll have 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 as a list. And now we're going to loop over that list, x for x in range. And for every iteration of that loop, we're going to create a key value pair with that number. So 0, we'll pass in 0, and then 0 times 0, 1, 1 times 1, 2, 2 times 2, 3, 3 times 3, and 4, 4 times 4, and it'll create a dictionary using those keys and values. Let's go ahead now and run this and see what we get. And there we go. So now we get a dictionary with the key 0, and then 0 times 0, which is 0, 1, 1 times 1, which is 1, 2, 2 times 2, which is 4, 3, 3 times 3, which is 9, and 4, 4 times 4, which is 16. So now we created that without having to manually set each key value ourselves. And so if we want to do a very big number, 500 or something, doing that manually would be awful. But instead, we can do that by just creating that dictionary comprehension, and it creates all of these for us. And you can see them all here up to 499 because it's up to, but not including the final number, in this case, 500. So that's how we use dictionary comprehensions. I can do more on these in the future if that's confusing and you want to learn more about those. But that's kind of a quick overview of how we can do that with dictionaries. Okay, the final thing we're going to talk about in this video is merging two dictionaries together. So I'm going to go ahead and create two dictionaries to start. We'll do dictionary 0, which equals, I'll just do A colon 0, B colon 1, and then I'll create another dictionary, dictionary 1, and this will be C, and we'll do colon 2, and then D, set the value to 3. Now, right now we have two separate dictionaries here. I want to create one dictionary that has all of the keys together, A, B, C, and D, with all these values, 0, 1, 2, and 3. And now we can merge these together, just like how we did earlier up here with the update. So wherever I did that at, right here. How we pretty much just passed in another dictionary inside of here. And we updated the keys that already existed, but we also created the keys that didn't exist. So in this case, since there are no duplicates, it will just merge them together. Now, if we have duplicates, it will overwrite them. So you got to pay attention to that. But so if there's no duplicates, we can go ahead and use the update to merge these two dictionaries together. So I can pick one dictionary. I'll do dictionary 0.update. I'll pass in dictionary 1 inside of there. So all it's doing here is just taking this right here and putting it right inside of here. Now, when I print out the dictionary 0, I should see all 4 keys inside of there. Let's go and just clear this to make it a little easier to read. And there we go. A, B, C, and D all together in one dictionary. So we successfully merged it by using this .update method. And that is really it for this video. Hopefully that was helpful. I wanted to go over some sort of basic examples and then go a little more advanced for those of you who kind of already know dictionaries. Hopefully you're still able to get something of value out of this with some of these more advanced methods here at the end. But that is it. All the code will be in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.